and welcome to the Rachael Holmes Lifestyle Show. I'd love to thank everybody for all the fabulous feedback that I'm getting over social media for these interviews. And of course, if you have any questions, just hit me up on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Today, another fabulous interview with holistic skincare expert Rachael Pontillo. I met Rachael earlier this year, and this is a really interesting interview about skin and how to nourish it, what to put on it, and what to eat for amazing skin.
Hi, Rachael, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. How are you?
Well, I'm doing very well, Rachael. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're very welcome. And of course, the burning question I always ask my guests on the show is, what is the backstory? How have you developed your program, your experiences, and what's kind of led you to this point in time?
Well, life experience is what informed my professional business and my professional life as it is today. I never intended to do any of this when I was a kid, when I was a young adult. I had acne from very young age, about 10 years old, and it lasted all through my teenage years. It lasted all through my 20s, even into my early 30s. And it got to the point where I had tried everything, nothing worked. And I was just at the point where I was like, you know what, I was just accepting it. This is part of me. I'm just going to cover it up and whatever. I don't care. It's not that I didn't care, but I just got so used to it, and it became so much part of my identity that covering the acne became as normal as breathing to me. You know, when you wake up in the morning, you take a deep breath, you stretch out. That was me. And so, okay, go to the bathroom, cover the acne. That's how it became. And I started learning how to do makeup at a really young age, because when I first started wearing makeup, I was, I think, only about 12.
Yeah.
And most 12-year-olds I know don't do a very good job with makeup. And the makeup that's available to most 12-year-olds is not the best quality. And the colors don't always match. And that continues into the teenage years. So as soon as I was old enough to work, I started working at a department store makeup counter, because I knew I wanted to make it look better, and I didn't want it to look clownish, or, you know, I did a lot of theater. I didn't want it to look like stage makeup when I wasn't on stage. So it really all started with makeup. And then the line that I worked for, they also had a skincare line. So I started learning a little bit about skincare ingredients, but I wasn't really understanding the causes of the acne. I just thought it was something that I was stuck with because both my parents had acne, and I thought I was just very unlucky. It wasn't until years later that I was, it was after my second child was born.
Yeah.
I gained a significant amount of weight. I don't know exactly how much I gained from where I started, but I got to the point where I was over 200 pounds.
Wow.
And that was not me. Up until that point, I was always about the size that I am now. And it was even, you know, back then when my skin was still a mess, I used to be like, oh, well, at least I'm thin. You know, at least I got that going for me, right? So once I became overweight, and I, again, tried everything. I tried all of the fad diets. I worked with a personal trainer. I tried diet books. I even took diet pills. Nothing worked, and it took me about 5 years to finally figure out that there was something going on that just your conventional diet approach was not going to fix.
Yeah.
And I came across a couple of different books that had very, what I would have called radical back then, very radical approaches to eating, which were, you know, no processed food at all. And it doesn't matter if your processed food has a low point value or whatever, no processed food. And instead of focusing on your proteins and your meats and everything, flip that and add the plant foods first, and then kind of add your protein later. And certain concepts like food combining and elimination diets and food sensitivities and things like that. And I figured, you know what, nothing else has worked, so I might as well try this, because at this point, let me tell you, I was desperate. I did not recognize myself when I looked in the mirror. And I also realized that, okay, I have 2 little girls now. I do not want them growing up with a mom who does not feel comfortable in her own skin. I felt that I needed to model a confident, strong woman to my kids. And at this time, I was still a stay-at-home mom. I had not started any business yet. I don't even think I had started my blog yet at that point. Mm-hmm. So I started reading, and I started experimenting with things like green smoothies and probiotics and lemon water and food combining. And I cut out dairy, I cut out sugar, I cut out gluten. I know it sounds like horrible, but it wasn't. It was for the first few days. But then just like when you give up anything else, once your body is kind of over the shock of it, you realize, oh, wow, I actually feel amazing. Mm-hmm. So I not only lost 20 pounds in the first month, but my skin cleared up completely in that month. And I hadn't changed anything about my skincare regimen. My skin completely changed. So I just kind of went with it from there. I continued doing what I was doing. I added more healthy habits. I added in more fitness. It's amazing, you know, when my kids were in ballet at this studio where there was a track around around their dance studio, so I could watch them through the glass windows and run around the track at the same time. So I started doing that. I started my yoga practice. I revisited my meditation practice, and I went back to school for holistic nutrition, for aesthetics. I learned more about skin. I learned more about nutrition. And in the nutrition program, I had to work with clients in order to get my certification. Mm-hmm. So I started working with clients and realized that they were getting the same results as I was getting by following some of the steps that I took. And I realized, you know what? I have to do something with this, because there are too many women out there who feel the way that I felt. Mm. And we can't have that.
Absolutely.
We can't have that. I think we are seeing in the world today that we need more strong women who are willing to, you know, take the steps necessary to make themselves feel strong and confident, and model that to other women and to young girls. So that's how I started my coaching practice. And all along, you know, I had always been experimenting with making my own skincare products. I've always been a big crafter and DIYer, and let's mix this with this and see what happens, cooking. So I also came up with my own formulas for my skin that made my skin look amazing as well. And it also helped it heal a lot from all the acne medications that I had to be on for years, because when you're on an acne medication, even if it's an over-the-counter one, your skin tends to get very dry, and there can be some signs of premature aging. There can be some pigmentation issues. My skin was actually bleached like 3 shades lighter than my neck at one point from some of the ingredients that I had used to control the acne. Yeah. So I changed my topical regimen and focused a lot more on plant oils and butters and essential oils and herbs and everything just all natural, nothing synthetic. And just the combination of all of that with the self-acceptance and mindset piece that really just allowed myself to open, to try different things and feel different things and be really aware of what was working and what wasn't, because I was letting really my body guide me. Mm-hmm. That's what really informed my life as it is today, both as a mother, as well as an entrepreneur and a coach and an author and educator. So there's your nutshell version. not quite a small nutshell.
But I think many of my viewers will be watching this and thinking, yeah, that's me. I've been dealing with acne, and I've been dealing with skin problems, and not just acne, eczema, skin allergies, and suddenly, you know, you become allergic to something, you don't know what, and there just seems to be more and more of it around. And obviously when your skin is so visible and it's on your face, it really is hard to be super self-confident and you know, and really face the world like that. So was it a 2-pronged attack, or was it more? Was it looking at foods, obviously, and also then experimenting topically of what was working, and did you were there a hit list of ingredients perhaps that you thought were the culprits that were affecting not just yourself but clients?
Sure. So what I've noticed for myself and also for my clients is that ingredients in your skincare products that are petrochemicals, so like your mineral oil, your white petrolatum, paraffins, any of these things that are they just sit on the surface of the skin. They don't let the skin breathe. They don't let the skin get toxins out. They just they form a barrier. That's kind of why they're put in ingredients. They're supposed to protect the skin and to keep hydration in, and they do that, but they don't do that in a way that actually promotes the health of the skin. They do that in a way that asphyxiates and suffocates the skin and traps the skin. So the skin is a detoxifying organ, and it needs to be able to release toxins. And if it doesn't, then they just stay kind of trapped in the fat cells underneath, as well as trapped in the follicles, and that in itself can contribute to acne. So that's a big no-no. Mm-hmm. Also, synthetic fragrances and perfumes, because there are hundreds and hundreds of individual constituents that make up a single fragrance ingredient, and there aren't any labeling laws currently that require companies to disclose what's in those perfumes. And the fact is that the list would be this long because there's so many individual ingredients. So the first thing about that is that any one of them can be an endocrine disruptor, can be irritant, can be an allergen, can be carcinogenic, can cause a whole slew of problems. And we do know that the number one cause of skin irritation, skin allergy, as well as respiratory allergy is synthetic fragrances. So I recommend to people to avoid synthetic fragrances in your products at all costs. And that goes for flavorings in food too. Flavorings and fragrances are very similar in that you don't know what's in them. So if you're eating something that has a flavor, even if it says natural raspberry flavor or natural this flavor, just because it has the word natural attached to it, that doesn't mean that that's what it is. And unless you see specifically the botanical name of the plant, what type of an extract it is, you don't know what it is. So you really have to read those labels if you are, I don't like reading labels for food because that means that you're buying foods that have labels. But if you are, anything that says flavor, get rid of it. And then same for your cosmetics. If you see the word fragrance, if you see the word parfum, which is French for perfume, or even natural fragrance, unless it says the Latin name with extract or essential oil attached to it, you can assume that it's synthetic. So those are the main ones that I would avoid in topical products. And then for foods, the main foods that I've identified both for myself as well as for my clients that seem to trigger the majority of skin conditions, and I'm talking acne, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, other types of inflammatory skin conditions as well, would be dairy. So that includes cheese, people. I'm sorry, not just milk. It includes cheese. It includes ice cream. Some people do better with it than others, but in general, many people today do not do well with dairy. And the same thing goes with gluten. And gluten is so tricky because these days I've come to the point that I don't know if it's the gluten or if it's the glyphosate from GMO wheat. Because when I was in Italy, over holiday last December and January, let me tell you, I ate a lot of gluten.
Yeah.
Because you're in Italy. I mean, how can you not, right? I mean, you order, they only have like the gluten-free food for the Americans. They don't, like when you're going to the small local places, they don't have gluten-free anything. You ask them for it, they don't even know what you're talking about. I didn't have a single gluten reaction there. And for me, a gluten reaction means a skin breakout. It also means puffiness in my face. It means congestion and belly bloat. I didn't have a single issue. So I'm like, oh my God, maybe I outgrew this. So I came back and I ordered myself, a bowl of organic pasta at a really nice restaurant. I had 3 bites. I blew up. I got bloated. I got sick within minutes. I'm like, oh my God. This is insane. So then I'm like, maybe it's not just the gluten.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just something with the American food supply, number one, but not just the American food supply because GMOs are in other countries besides America. But I think GMOs could be problematic for a lot of people for a lot of reasons, digestion-wise as well as sensitivity-wise. And then other than gluten, sugar. Yeah. And nobody wants to hear it, but refined sugar, I enjoy whole natural sugars in small amounts, like raw honey, pure maple syrup. But in general, sugars that are the white powdery stuff or the white crystallized stuff or the syrupy kind of synthetic ones, all of those are going to be problematic.
And do you think with these a lot of allergies, say eczema and sensitivities and acne to some, do you think people are born with a predisposition to it and then it's a stress trigger or it's a, it's a food trigger? We see so many infants that have problematic skin, and they take that through all the way through to adulthood. And often even if they do clean the diet, sometimes under times of stress, it comes back. Or if you tend to put topical cream on, you might not have a reaction for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Right? And it's very difficult for somebody to think, well, yeah, it's definitely XYZ, because it sometimes isn't. It isn't instant.
No, you're absolutely correct about that. And as you mentioned earlier, sometimes these things do develop later in life. I think genetics absolutely plays a big part in it. But the way I see it, the genetics might be your blueprint, but it's not your house.
Yes.
So epigenetics, lifestyle, how you eat, how you act, how you think, how you manage your stress, all of these things play a bigger role. Your genetics definitely plays a factor. You can't ignore that. And a lot of the genetics that people are born with today, we're not always dealt the best deck of cards. You know what I'm saying? The best hand. So, instead of allowing that to get us down and make us feel like we're doomed, like I felt doomed because I knew my parents had bad skin, I see it as an opportunity to look at the health history of the family, look at the family history, who has what conditions, how do they live, what do they eat, what kind of jobs do they have, what kind of relationships do they have, how, what is their disposition in life? Are they very negative and dramatic people, or are they very, light and positive people? I really encourage people who have strong family histories, or even if they have a condition themselves that they know other people in their family have, take a look at those lifestyles, because it's the same as, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you have family members who have a certain condition that you don't want, and you do the same thing that they do, and you act the same way that they act, and you eat the same way that they ate, most likely that's going to happen to you as well. But if you look at that and say, okay, well, grandma had this and mom had this, and they ate a lot of cheese, or they ate a lot of this, or they were very, gossipy and dramatic and very negative and fought with everyone. Well, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to focus my energies more on kindness and compassion and love and generosity, and not gossip and not be dramatic. And I'm going to eat really healthy, and I'm going to honor my body. And I would bet a lot of money that would generate a different outcome for that person.
I love that, Rachael. That's amazing. So kind of fast forward now, where are you with your business right now? And for anybody because this has been fascinating, I could have asked you so many questions.
Oh, thank you.
We'll want to come and find your blog and read what you're doing and see where your coaching business and your business is developing. So where can everyone find you, Rachael?
So my website is www.rachaelpontillo.com, and it's Rachael, Rachael, Pontillo.com. And that's where you can find my blog. I have years and years of archives of amazing content on holistic skincare and lifestyle and wellness. We even have topics about feminine spirituality and feminism, what I call the new feminism moving forward, and just what it means to be a woman in today's society, and how do we really sit in that role and fill that role moving forward? Who do we want to be collectively moving forward, and what do we need to do to get there? And in my coaching practice, you can also find on that website, I offer single sessions with primarily women who either have a skin condition now, or I do work with people also with spiritual counseling, mostly women's spirituality counseling. I'm an ordained minister as well. So I offer spiritual counseling in addition to the health and skincare coaching. And then for people who are just really into, getting to the bottom of their topical regimen, and people who want to take their skin really into their own hands, I offer a course called Create Your Skincare. It's a 6-week online course that teaches people how to design and customize their own all-natural boutique skincare products that don't contain any of the ingredients that I talked about earlier. It's only ingredients from nature, and I work with you to help you figure out what the best ones for your unique skin are, because I believe that everyone actually has combination skin. We just each have a different combination, so we have to figure out what that combination is and what ingredients are going to best nourish and support the goals that you want. So that's at createyourskincare.com, and that's taught live twice a year, but starting in 2017, there will be offerings that people can start learning any time of year. And right now, we have Create Your Skincare for the holidays, which is also available year-round, which teaches people to make all-natural skincare gifts. And it also teaches you how to accessorize and package them and make beautiful custom labels for your products. And that is something that's also available year-round. So those are at createyourskincare.com.
That's fantastic.
And then I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as well. But Facebook is primarily my main hub. And I do have a free group on Facebook, Handmade Skincare Enthusiasts, that people can join if they're interested in learning more about handmade skincare. And then on my website, I offer a checklist of 12 questions that you need to ask your skincare brand, because there's a lot of natural skincare products out there that if you look at the labels, it's like, oh, I can't pronounce that. That doesn't look all that natural to me.
Yeah.
So I've put together a free checklist that you can download of of questions that you can ask your skincare brand to know if this is something that you really actually want to be standing behind and putting onto your face.
Yeah.
And then, once you go through that checklist, if you have questions, I'm always available to support you.
Oh, thank you. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for spending the time and sharing your expertise and your knowledge. I know everybody watching is going to be absolutely mesmerized by this information. And
fabulous.
It's great to come and see them at your website. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.